Why is it that you're prepared to pay, I don't know, 3 or 4 times what this rose was worth yesterday just to get them delivered on Valentine's Day? This is Tonight. I'm Bruce Whitfield, and tonight I'm joined by the Netflorist Managing Director, Ryan Bacher, to find out why it is, Ryan, you can charge. How much is one of these? What do you charge Valentine's Day for one of these?
They'll probably be around 20 Rand, 25 Rand a stem. Yeah.
And I've got
in the packaging and with all the paraphernalia and somewhere
I've got a dozen of them. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be very romantic and go, Ryan, here we are, happy Valentine's Day, dear, and you wouldn't be very impressed, would you?
No.
Okay, so
it's
we need to learn how to impress people.
Right.
Okay, and I would like you to teach me, hopefully you know, being the managing director of Netflorist, how to actually make a flower arrangement. A flower arrangement like this one. This is the one that professionals have done.
Correct.
How long does it take to put this together? Nice, lovely black box full of oasis, the green stuff, this green stuff that you fill up with water, some leaves and a dozen roses. How long would that take a professional in your warehouse to do the day before Valentine's Day?
Probably 10 to 15 minutes.
Really? That much time? Okay, we don't have that much time.
No.
So quickly, you've got to teach me what to do. So we're going to be making a bouquet, a Netflorist bouquet this evening, while we talk about the benefits of Valentine's Day and obeying Valentine's Day, of course, because it's a very important non-holiday. How many flowers do you think you're going to be dispatching this year?
We'll do about 18,000 of these deliveries.
18,000 deliveries. Is this kind of the standard? Is that the box standard?
It's one of them. There's a box, there's vase, there's bouquets. We've got all sorts of different containers. We bring a lot in, but this is a pretty popular one.
And what do you sell this one for?
This will be about 350.
350 bucks.
Right.
Does it come with chocolates? Because they're
chocolates, teddy bears, balloons.
We sprinkle it with chocolates.
All sorts of stuff.
And then we stick a balloon in. You see, I've got the gist of this thing already. There we go. And chuck a teddy bear in there as well.
I think your lesson's complete.
Hey, look at that.
There
Okay. Let's, it's a little bit clunky. Now, how do you treat one of these roses? These are long-stemmed roses. They are grown, I suppose, specifically for this time of year.
Yeah, some of these actually came from Ethiopia and some came locally. So there's a myriad of suppliers, and I think this one is from Ethiopia.
Well, it's a beautiful rose.
Yeah.
How do I treat this particular rose? I've got my box in front of me.
Right.
I've got a pair of scissors. What do I do with it?
So the first thing you're going to do is put the rose down, and you're going to pick up this stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to play around with this. This green stuff is called oasis.
That green stuff is oasis,
It's kind of a foam, and it retains water.
Right.
So that way the flowers aren't going to die en route, or when you get there, so it's all good. You need something like this to put in. So ruscus creates the environment, and then roses going off.
Okay, so this stuff is called ruscus.
This is called ruscus.
Do I need to hack it?
You need to hack it. So what you've got to do is you've got to cut at an angle.
Yeah.
A piece like this, and we're going to start in the middle. We're going to put it in the middle.
So this is like decorating, not that you'd know, but this is what happens with Christmas trees.
I assume so. So what we're going to do is, and we'll just do a few.
Okay.
But
this is quite stressful, by the way.
Yeah.
Do I cut? So I've got to cut them off.
You've got to cut them off.
What do you do with the offcuts of this? And does that just
you
go
throw
to
them
compost?
on your studio floor.
Okay, but does it go to compost eventually?
It would.
Okay.
Yeah. So what we're doing is we're going to make a symmetrical environment, and we're going to kind of generally the idea is one in the middle, and then you follow a clock. So you put one at...
Okay, my clock's going backwards, but that's okay.
You put one at 12 o'clock or so.
Do you angle them?
You angle them.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you'll put one at kind of 6 o'clock.
Okay.
And then one at 3 and 9.
So when you started off with Netflorist, what, 10 years ago?
15.
15 years ago.
Yeah.
Were you doing this stuff yourself and delivering the 3 boxes yourself on Valentine's Day?
No, still don't, and I don't really know what I'm doing here. I mean, I think I'm talking a good game, but the truth is this morning our head designer gave me a crash course.
Okay, very good.
Because he was terrified that I was coming on TV. Usually they don't let me anywhere near the flowers. But you know, I've learnt over the years.
You're an accountant after all, aren't you?
Well, I did a law degree.
Okay.
But I certainly did nothing to do with flowers.
How big is Valentine's Day in the life of Netflorist?
So, it's about 8% of our business. So it's not.
Is that all?
Yeah, it's not that significant, but it certainly gives us a very good month, and it's a good time for us to shout about our brand and our offering because people are listening.
Is it a smaller proportion of the business than it was 10 years ago, say?
It is, because the other areas of our business are much more consistent now.
Okay.
So just what you're doing is you're putting 20 or so pieces of ruscus, and after that we're going to pop the roses in.
Okay, I'm just going to, forgive me for being a bit philistinish about this, but I'm just hacking them off.
Okay, I'd like to do that, but...
In the sense of, see, I wasn't given the coaching lesson by your artistic director.
Also, you're not going to get clapped when you go back to the office and you
This
did
is
that.
true. This is
so
true.
I'm just a bit scared, really.
But this isn't so hard.
No,
I mean,
I don't think so.
The 1970s, I think, were the era of flower arranging, and they used to do flower arranging courses and stuff. This is going to...
How's your symmetry doing?
My symmetry is not all that symmetrical, I'm afraid.
Not.
But then it is my first time.
Okay. So we'll pop in a few more and then we'll go to the roses, because that's really, I mean, the roses are really why people buy them, but they have to come with some filler, otherwise they'll look a bit stark.
What's the significance of the red rose? I made a joke before saying, if I bought these roses next week, I can then put them in as part of a wreath and send them to a funeral, and you look like you're about to faint. You don't send red roses to a funeral.
No. So, I mean, there's so many different views on what is Valentine's Day when it came about. There's a thing about this guy, Valentine,
keep up.
Valentine, who proposed to his girlfriend and things went wrong and there was blood. Apparently that's one of the stories. So that's, as far as we can tell, that's where the red rose thing came.
Okay.
And it's demand and supply. It's as simple as that. The farmers, most rose growers are not wealthy guys. It's not easy to be a rose farmer. So during the year, they're generally battling. And on Valentine's Day is the one time, because of the scale of demand and supply, that they can charge a premium for their products. So they do.
Now what do I do with the rose?
Right, so now, this we're going to cut at an angle. You always cut at an angle so that the stem can get more water.
Absolutely.
And
that much we know.
Right.
45-degree angle.
We're going to take any leaves off that aren't near the top, but leaves at the top will look nice. And now we're going to do exactly the same thing. And we're going to follow our center, then 12, 6, 3, and 9.
This is taking shape. All right.
So
you're going to do 18,000 deliveries, you said?
We're going to do around there, yeah.
I mean, there was a year, was it 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, where there was a huge strike and you had to call in friends and neighbours and everyone you knew to do the deliveries, and that was a little bit scary. Correct.
So we're asking the Transport and Allied Union, etc., please not to strike on Friday or Saturday. They'd be very nice of them, very pro-romance if they didn't strike. But no, thank God there are no strikes planned. But we did have that, and everybody came and helped. But it's kind of a bigger organisation and more formal now. Even if we had that kind of strike, we would be covered now.
Okay. How does it work then in terms of load shedding, and you've got flowers sweltering in the back of a delivery van, and it all goes a bit pear-shaped when you're stuck on a hot heat wave Joburg day?
So we're fortunate in that the scale of our business allows us to have generators at all of our hubs. So that's critical, because the flowers have to be kept chilled, and to keep a cold room, a kind of a 100 square meter cold room operating, takes a large generator. So we've got that, luckily. So we're not all that impacted on load shedding, except our customers are, because we see an immediate drop in orders as soon as lights start going out. Sure, because most of our customers are ordering at work, and a lot of businesses don't have generators when the lights go out.
I don't mean to rush you, but we've got 4 minutes, so you need to.
How are you doing? I'm on my, I think, 8th rows or 9th rows.
I think I'm there as well. Look, I mean, this is looking a little bit shabby chic. Valentine's
Listen,
Day.
there's a market for that.
It's
I'm
rustic.
sure I can sell this.
It's rustic. It's a rustic Valentine's.
Right.
So come Valentine's Monday, how many deliveries would you have missed? Because it does happen, I'm sure. That,
it does happen, sure.
That you have somebody who's got 2 black eyes because he forgot.
Right.
Ostensibly. And how do you make up for that?
So we generally hit an error rate of below 1%.
Okay.
That's really our target.
Is that a global standard?
Global's higher, from what we can understand.
Okay.
Maybe we have a bit more control of the process because we own our own hubs. A lot of businesses like ours overseas don't own any of their own hubs. They outsource everything, so their control is less. So maybe we get a better deal. And if something goes wrong, we'll talk to each customer. We'll ask them what they want us to do. We often phone the recipient to apologise. We'll do all sorts of things, and obviously they get their money back, etc.
Okay.
That's what I think.
So we've got to tie the red ribbon on.
Right.
And then we see if anybody's going to be prepared to pay money for this.
Well, I'm hoping some of your guys in studio, I don't know if they brought their wallets with them.
I don't think they did, but they're very romantic, these guys.
Okay.
I think they'll be expecting these for nothing because they've seen how they're made. It's not perfect, and I apologize.
And it doesn't have to be perfect.
Oh, you see, that's because no love is perfect. Yeah.
Yes, it's very congruent. So now you've got to put your balloon in. Where's your balloon?
I put that balloon there.
Okay.
There we go.
So now we've got to put a balloon in.
My stalks are longer than the professionals, and that would be bad, wouldn't it? Because the risk of damaging my bouquet is higher than yours. Yours is a bit more robust and easily transportable because less can go wrong with it. Mine's a little bit floppy, and if we break suddenly, the heads could pop off.
Right.
So that would be bad.
And that's not mine. That's our designers. This is mine, and I'm in the same boat as you.
I don't know. I think ours are better, frankly.
Well, wait, you've got to put the teddy next to them.
The teddy.
And where's our box of chocolates? Oh, we didn't. We opened them up. But normally they'd come with a nice box of chocolates.
The teddy can eat a chocolate as well.
And that's kind of, I've got to put my ribbon around, and that's kind of
I don't want to show my
what our customers are looking for, certainly some of them.
And they'll pay $350 for that?
Yeah, and
delivered?
Hopefully when wives, girlfriends, others get them, they'll get a beautiful call saying, I love you too.
Oh, that's very
sweet?
nice. That's very sweet. What is this industry worth? I mean, it's schlock and it's all romance and we got violins and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
Is it worth R1 billion a year? Is it worth more than that?
Flowers only is probably worth around 800 to $1 billion. Flowers only. The gift industry then gets much wider.
So are you then taking this Netflorist concept and expanding it as well? Because I would think that their flowers are great on the 14th of February,
right,
but you've kind of got the rest of the year,
sure,
where for funerals, bar mitzvahs, all of that sort of stuff, you know, that has to be serviced. But you've got the logistics in place, you've got all of that business, that part of the business in place. How are you leveraging your logistical platform?
Right. So one of the things that I guess is in our favor is we're not scared to deliver a perishable good. Roses are terrifying to deliver. They die in the heat in 2 seconds. So we've got a very big gifting business, but on top of that, we've just launched a confectionery business. So if we can deliver a rose, we think we can deliver a cake. So we've built an industrial kitchen, a baking kitchen in our warehouse, and we are churning out cakes, cupcakes, soon to be strawberries dipped in chocolate, donuts, biscuits, muffins, all sorts of stuff. And we think that's an interesting play, and people, I think, want that delivered.
Brian Bacher, I wish you luck with it. If I was to judge perfectly objectively,
right,
as to who the winner was, I'd put it in the middle. And that was the Netflorist Managing Director, Ryan Bacher, his second ever flower arrangement, my first ever flower arrangement. Thank you for watching. There'll be more tonight, tomorrow, if we're allowed back after what we've done to this particular studio. But it is the day of romance, the 14th of February. You have been warned. And if you would like a personal flower bouquet designed, rewind, watch again, and do it yourself. Good night.